beside the Watchung Mountain stands our school so dear. All our precious years of childhood, we have spent them here. For whatever be our watchword, conquer and prevail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, Scotch Plains Fanwood all hail. When across the world we wander, this will be our song. Honor, love, and true devotion, all to here belong. For whatever be our watchword, conquer and prevail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, Scotch Plains Fanwood all hail.
We're good.
Good evening. Welcome to the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education Open Agenda Meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 9th. Mr. Jones, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Bauer,
Here.
Mrs. Boroff,
Here.
Ms. Brody,
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell, Ms. Suriani,
Here.
Ms. Williams, Ms. Winkler, Dr. Kolakowski,
Here.
Mr. Murray.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Quorum is present. Please join me in the salute to the flag. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Prior to coming in public this evening, we held our executive board meeting. At that time, we discussed personnel matters, HIB, the suspension and detention report, and the legal status report. At this time, we'll have our executive session report and Dr. Mass superintendent report.
Very good. So tonight, I would just like to highlight that there are many wonderful activities happening in the district at this time of year. And I encourage everyone to take a close look at the newsletter, which lists all of the activities, and also take a look at the calendars on the website for both the district and the schools where your children attend. It's just a great way to celebrate all of the learnings and interests of our students throughout the year. And additionally, I was at a youth softball event after school today, and it was the first one of its kind. I got a Raider tattoo, and I also was so impressed by the turnout and by the varsity team working with the younger softball players in town. And even to top off the event, our girls varsity team had a big win of 9-1. So it was a great afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Mast. Business Administrator's report, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. So I started 2 years ago here at the district, and I've been a business administrator for about 5 years, and prior to that, I was in private industry for 10 years. So upon learning that I got this position, I found out that my assistant business administrator resigned. So I immediately had to find somebody, and so it was like 20 years of experience, that one retirement, one resignation, that moved from the business office. So I immediately knew of somebody who I was networking with, who also was in private industry and didn't have much experience in schools, but was a board member for 15 years. And so I thought I would take a chance and hire him. And it's been a great 2 years. My friend next to me, Mr. James Canellis, he came in, learned very quickly, brought a lot of leadership to the district, implemented a lot of changes. And the other thing that happened to me when I started is I had a 6-week-old. So I was under, a lot of things going on in my life, and there's no way I could have done it without his help. And so I just wanted to say tonight, bittersweet that tonight is his last meeting, but I'm very happy to announce that he has a business administrator position in Glen Rock in Bergen County. So I just want to publicly say thank you and good luck, and we're going to miss you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I'll get you later for this. The time I spent here in SPF, when Christopher says he took a chance, SPF really took a chance. I had been trying for a period of time to break into the school world after 25 years in the media business, and nobody would give me a chance. And when they did, I made a promise to myself and to Dr. Mast and Christopher that they certainly would not be let down or disappointed in the investment that they make. I leave here today ready to lead a district, and that's entirely due to the efforts of the entire SPF community for helping me over the past 2 years. Thank you, Christopher and Dr. Mast.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Mr. Jones, and you will be missed, James. Okay, the board president announcement. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Board of Education offices located at 512 Cedar Street, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Such notice was also provided in written notice and forwarded to the Union County Hawk, the Star Ledger, the Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, and the Borough Clerk of Fanwood in the revised annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings as adopted April 28, 2022. At this time, we'll have recognition and instructional update. First up, the moon blowers.
Very good. So, tonight is a very special night. If you get to hear the moon glowers, there's no reason to go to any other professional jazz performance because they're just that good. Tonight, I'm delighted we're able to recognize and congratulate our moon glowers. In March, the band took part in the New Jersey Association for Jazz Education's State Jazz Festival preliminary competition and were then invited along with 48 other high school jazz bands to compete in their Division II state finals, which were just held on April 29th at Princeton High School. The Moonglowers, made up of students in grades 10 to 12, placed first in the division, won Best Rhythm Section, Best Saxophone Section, and our own Hassan Ali, a senior, won the Solo Award for Alto Saxophone. Some members of the band are here tonight, along with our amazing director of bands, Duran Thomas. If you know Duran, you know he is incredibly proud of these students. Along with praising them for their excellence on and off the stage, he commands and commends them for maintaining their intense rehearsal schedule, beginning at 7:45 a.m. from November throughout the school year. So not only are the students coming that early, but so is Mr. Thomas, and that's quite a mark of dedication for all. Tonight, I'd like to say thank you also to Mr. Thomas. Our students aren't the only ones getting to work at 6:45 for rehearsal from November through the school year. So are you. And also, thank you to our Moonglower parents for all the support and investment that you've made in this amazing musical unit. So with no further ado, we would like the Moonglowers to come up. And you guys could come up this way and circle around the horseshoe.
Toward the front.
It would only be better if you brought your instruments, but.
I was thinking, that's what I was thinking.
Thank you. I just say how proud I am of these folks standing before you. They are nothing short of superstars. It's not easy to do what they do. I never got to do that when I was in high school. We didn't really have a jazz band. We had a band, but we had a good marching band, but that was a whole other story. But to say they work hard, not just in music, but academically, would be an understatement. They hold jobs, they're in other athletic events, and they show up every day ready to work for the art of jazz. It's been said that this is one of the oldest organized jazz bands in the state of New Jersey. Along with that comes a lot of pride, certainly a lot of rich tradition. Just a couple of miles away at Shady Rest, there are bands such as Duke Ellington and Count Basie in our very town here at Scotch Plains. And I think these young folks embody that spirit that the Duke and the Count brought from New Jersey to also Count Basie. They bring along that same spirit and energy. So Moonglowers of 2023, you're holding it down, and I want to wish you nothing but the best as you move forward in your future endeavors. Thank you so much for a great season.
Whereas the Moonglowers came into existence at Scotch Plains Fanwood High School in 1942. And 81 years later, they continue to delight audiences of every age in their wide variety of jazz music. And whereas this talented group of 21 jazz musicians gather and rehearse every early morning preparing their various competitions, and whereas the Moonglowers won first place Division II New Jersey Association of Jazz Educators state competition on Saturday, April 29th, 2023 at the J.P. Stevens High School. The Moonglowers were awarded Best Rhythm Section, Best Saxophone, along with Hassan Ali being awarded Outstanding Soloist at this competition. And whereas the Moonglowers continue to devote many hours of community service to the Robert Longo ALS Foundation, Fanwood Scotch Plains Senior Citizens, and the Rotary Club. And whereas the Moonglowers are well deserving of the board's recognition for their musical talents and professional manner in which they continually represent our school district. In the 2022-2023 Moonglowers consist of the following students: Hassan Ali, alto saxophone; Daniel Wang, alto saxophone; Gokul Ramanan, baritone saxophone; Rachel Damania, bass trombone; Antonios Theokaropoulos, bass trombone; Dylan Patel, drums; Jonathan Schwartz, drums; Ellery Howell, flute and piccolo; Nathan Ward, guitar; Andrew Smith, piano and drums; Emmett Fines, tenor saxophone; Ernest Yates, tenor saxophone; Benjamin Abrams, trombone; Audrey Coyne, trombone; Jacob O'Connor, trombone; Olivia Ayeri, trumpet; Shale Bardolia, trumpet; Joseph Enton, trumpet; Sophia Gallo, trumpet; Aniket Ayer, vibes; Elizabeth Agnello, vibes and piano. Now therefore be it resolved that the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education recognizes and congratulates the 2022 Moonglowers and their director, Mr. Duran Thomas, on their banner year, and thanks them for bringing pride and recognition to our schools and communities. Congratulations.
Sure. A while back, the band participated in some other events that I've tried to resurrect, one of which was the Village Green over by Town Hall in the center of Scotch Plains. This will be our third year bringing that event back. I also contacted a gentleman over at Crossroads, and we will be participating in a evening performance at the Crossroads. That's going to be Wednesday, June the 14th, and the Crossroads is the week, and the Village Green is the week prior on June the 7th. A week from tomorrow is our spring concert, where is another opportunity for you to get to hear these fantastic musicians at our spring concert over at Scotch Plains Fanwood High School. So though the competitive season might be over, we're not done performing by a long shot. So hopefully we'll see you all someplace down the road. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you taking the time to come out to see us tonight and to let us honor you, because you bring so much pride to our district. But we understand if you don't want to sit through the whole rest of the meeting. Did anybody else have any comments?
I just wanted to say I'm sorry that you didn't bring the instruments.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing you at those future dates. Thank you for mentioning that, and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I would just say it's always exciting when you have a chance to get to hear the moon glowers, and I know it's an honor to be selected and to be a part of that group, and so it really is exciting to have you here and be able to say congratulations on a great year.
Thank you, everyone. Next, we have our first public.
So this, if you're choosing to transition, this would be the time?
We're going to stay.
They were amused by the instrument list that wasn't. Oh, it's the list that Mr. Dollars.
Okay, then we'll move on to our first public comment. In accordance with the Scotch Plains Fanwood Public Schools Bylaw 0164 and 0165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments. There is a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. Speakers, please state your full name and the town in which you reside when you come up to the podium. Please note that the board's public comment is a period of opportunity to listen to the citizens' concerns, but not debate issues or enter in a question and answer period or cross-examine between the public and individual members. Be aware that not all issues brought before the board at this meeting will be resolved this evening, and the board may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or delegating authority to investigate an issue to the superintendent or his or her designee, and that's from the New Jersey School Board Association. So if you'd like to make a public comment, please come up to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'm going to close this portion of the meeting and move on to the letters to the board. And actually, we didn't have any letters at this time, so there are no letters to be noticed. Committee reports. Do we have any committee reports? Mrs. Soriani, go right ahead.
Thank you. The curriculum committee met last week on May 2nd. We discussed 3 items. The first is the text for the AP Psychology course, which is a new course that's going to be offered at the high school. Before I discuss the text, I just want to say that the interest in this course, which is a popular AP course in general, but the interest exceeded expectations in our district. 135 seniors have already signed up to take the course next year, so there will be 6 sections, which is very exciting. Teachers are being prepared to teach the course with professional development offered by the College Board. And also, they were able to go to other districts and observe the class being taught and talk to other teachers in other districts about the resources and class materials. So as everyone knows, when a book is selected for a course, there are several that are considered, and it's narrowed down. The book that is being proposed is Meyer Psychology, and it was selected because it aligns with the AP units of study, provides real-life examples, and it also has AP exam prep and review after each chapter. And other districts as well have endorsed this text. So we are asking for board approval tonight for the Meyer Psychology book. We are asking for 135 copies. The text is $158.52, and for 135 students, and that is on the agenda tonight for approval. The second item we discussed was another AP item, an update on AP African American Studies. This is just for informational purposes. A teacher from New York who's piloting the course was able to address the New Jersey Social Studies Supervisors Group. And one of the aims of the course is wanting to make it accessible to many who might not take other AP courses. So there are different components of the course. They go into literature, music, culture, not just kind of dates and memorization, but it's a very dynamic course. The Social Studies Department is going to work on the curriculum and also developing resources. There's not one text to be used due to the range of material and the newness of the course. So we have to, develop resources to use to engage the students in the material. So feedback was also obtained from some students, the Black Student Union, who also suggested having African American guest speakers come in to augment the material of the course. The teacher for this class is also going to go to a summer institute for professional development and collaborate with the cohort who is teaching the course. And the third item we discussed is also on the agenda for approval tonight, which is the curriculum matrix, which the board approves annually. And our next meeting is June 6th.
Thank you, Ms. Soriani. Are there any questions for Ms. Soriani? Thank you for your report. Any other reports to be heard this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to the enrollment report. Everybody received their enrollment report? Any questions? Moving on to the superintendent curriculum.
Okay, I'm going to block the first 5 that don't need a roll. So number 1, I would like to ask the board to approve the schedule of board meeting dates for the 23-24 school year. 2, I would like the board to approve the out-of-district placements for the 23-24 school year as listed. 3, I would like the board to approve the 13 HIB cases discussed on the April 27th executive session, where 6 cases were found to be HIB. And 4, I would like to ask the board to approve the field trips that were listed, and stop there.
Thank you, Dr. Mass. Can I have a motion for those items?
So moved.
Thank you, Deb. Is there a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Bauer. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, we had a motion and a second. Don't need a roll call for that it's curriculum? We're doing, Mr. Jones?
The next 2.
Okay,
I said those were tonight, they're next week.
okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you, Dr.
Well,
Mass.
there's actually 2 more.
Okay.
Yep, so for the curriculum matrix, for the board to approve the 23-24 curriculum matrix that Mrs. Siriani mentioned, as well, and for 6, it's the textbook adoption for the Meyer Psychology for the AP course.
Okay, do we have a motion for 5 and 6?
Are those for
Next
next
meeting.
week, or?
Next meeting. Yeah, these are just, is any
I
questions?
said tonight
as we're
I was
using-
incorrect,
Yeah,
sorry.
as a reason, this is the open session, so these are just, if you have any questions about any of these items, you can ask them now.
I did mean to comment on the field trip and say it's exciting to see, a trip again overseas to Spain. That's very exciting, so. And I had one question. I know they have to complete extensive paperwork. And I'm sure that includes having insurance, their parents' insurance information and so forth.
Yes, and we do a special addendum to our insurance just for any international travel.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. And then number 7, that's going to be brought up at the next meeting?
I had a question about number 7, if we're.
Mrs. Bauer, go right ahead.
I know on number 7, is this an extension of, we've added on, where we keep adding on? Yes?
Yes, so we,
Okay.
generally, we ask for the establishment or the deletion of courses in August before the school year. But this year, we were fortunate enough to have 3 transfer students, and we required another class to be added. So we're requesting the board's approval to establish the 2 to 4 classroom.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Membas, and thank you for your question, Mrs. Bauer. That brings us to the board motion of personnel, Dr. Mast.
I'd like the board to approve the superintendent's recommendations for personnel on the personnel report dated May 9th.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Soriani. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Boroff. Any questions or comments? Mr. Jones, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Bauer,
Yes?
Mrs. Boroff,
Yes.
Ms. Brody,
Yes.
Ms. Suriani,
Yes.
Dr. Kolakowski.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you, Dr. Mast. Mr. Jones, board motion of business.
Yep. So number 1, our typical staff training. Number 2 is related services for the rest of this school year. Number 3 is the related services for the SY program. Number 4, special education settlement agreement amendment that we discussed in our previous week executive session. Number 5 is awarding our swimmers to use the Y as the pool. That did go out to bid, and this was the out for quote, and this was the lowest quote we received. Number 6, and so those are the first 5 we're going to vote on.
Okay.
So we can vote now, and then I'll go through the rest and make it easier so I get confused.
So Mr. Jones had listed 1 through 5. Does anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Brody. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mrs. Bauer. So we have Deb Brody as a motion, Nancy Bauer is the second. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. You can continue, Mr. Jones?
Yep. Environmental safety management, that's our yearly air quality vendor. Number 7 will be our food service for next year. I do expect that we'll have due to inflationary pressures, we will have a fairly sizable increase that aligns with the inflation. And additionally, we'll have, next week, I'll be able to provide some insight into the profitability of the program. And I do expect that we will have another increase in lunch prices next year, so more to come. Number 8, employee health insurance. I'll have an update for next week. Strauss Esme, again, a yearly service that we use for our policies. Number 10 is so a lot of our in-district special education students. For this one, I do expect that they will go with the CPI rate renewal, which will be, I believe it's 5.68%. So even though it's not, Amherst and Porterfield is not going out to bid, it's still a fairly large increase. Number 11 is our transportation bid for our general education students. Number 12, yearly resolution, just to, and our yearly membership for sports. 13 will be our fire drills, 14 financial reports, 15 disbursements, and 16 bills.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jones. And then we have board motion for board policies. Is anybody reading the board policies this evening?
Well, can we ask questions on the rest of the business first?
Oh, sure, Mrs. Bauer.
I just wanted, when we get the information for these other items, you'll show us all the bids, so we see the range and
I will.
whether we had multiple bids and so forth.
I will give, my plan is for the Finance Committee. I plan on sending out an email before the agenda goes out to update everybody. So Thursday, I plan on sending an email out. And if you have any questions before we actually put it on the agenda for Friday, because this is the way the meetings fall in March, because we have to have this meeting because of the yearly renewals for, that our actual committee meeting is after we post the agenda. So I'll send an email out just with some general information that we can follow up on at our committee meeting on Monday night. Okay, so if there's anything that, you have concerns about actually putting on the agenda, just let me know on Friday. All right?
It's just always interesting if we get only one bid and
Yep,
we're stuck with it.
I have all the info.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. Jones? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the board policies. At our next meeting, we will have the approval of the board policies as listed and were read at our last meeting. New board business, is there any new board business? Seeing none. Other board business, liaison reports.
I have a liaison report.
All right, Mrs. Boroff, go right ahead.
Last night, we had the CPAG meeting, Special Education Parent Advisory Group. And again, it was a great informative session. We had some of our internal staff come, administration, to really talk to the group about what transitions look like. And we talked about fourth to fifth grade transitioning. But really, it was filled with different tips and tricks for your students and how to prepare yourself, your students. And as always, it was really extremely informative. And anyone that is interested, that will be available on the CPAG website for certain in the coming days, I'm sure. And that was it. It was a fabulous meeting. Encourage everyone to get involved.
Thank you, Mrs. Boroff. Any other liaison reports? Seeing none. Any workshop reports or requests to attend workshops? I know several of us will be going to the Garden State Coalition of Schools. That's coming up on May 24th. Looking forward to that. The board minutes at our next meeting, we'll be voting on the April 27th minutes. And then at this time, we have the second public comment portion of our meeting. In accordance with the Scotch Plains Fairwood Public School Bylaw 0164, 0165, the meeting will be open for up to 15 minutes for public comments. Maximum 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing the superintendent items, business function, or other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. State your full name and the town in which you reside if you wish to make a public comment. Please note, boards use the public comment period as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not debate issues or enter into question-answer sessions or cross-examine between the public and the individual board members. Be aware that not all issues brought before the board this evening will be resolved, and boards may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating the authority to investigate the issue to the superintendent or his or her designate. So if you have a public comment at this time, please come up to the podium, state your name and the town in which you reside.
Kim Von Horn, Scotch Plains. 15 years ago, our family landed in Scotch Plains after a long, deeply researched look into which town would be the best bet best fit to raise our two little kids in. And it turns out we made the right choice. So I wanted to talk about that tonight. As much as I am not ready to see my son walk across the stage 6 weeks from now to accept his high school diploma and then keep walking to the next phase of his life as a young adult out in the world without us by his side, he is ready. He'll be okay. And I believe that growing up in this school district is a big reason why. Exposure to an ever-evolving curriculum that's becoming more inclusive and accurate is why. Safely walking in other people's shoes through experiences from lovely to relatable to difficult in a diverse array of books under the guiding hand of engaging educators is why. There are many more examples than 3 minutes can hold as to why, and lots of them include the amazing teachers he's had since preschool. So I wanted to take a moment to say, I see you all and the work your team and the educators in our school have done to listen, learn, collaborate for the benefit of each of our students as individuals and all of our students as a cohort. And that can be seen in their educational and personal successes, how they understand and consider the world around them, how they treat others, how they see and move toward their own potential. After 15 years at SPF schools, my senior was able to choose from a variety of opportunities offered by wonderful colleges and universities. I believe the combination of his hard work, support of his family, friends, community, and the thoughtful, robust, ever-improving educational framework and support systems this district has built for our students is why. So thank you for genuinely caring about our students. Thank you for all you've done to mold the school district into one that opens doors for our students once they're ready for them. Thank you for making parents like me just a little less terrified about watching our kids take that long walk across the stage on June 21st. It really is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Kim. Is there anybody else that wishes to make public comment? Seeing no one, then we'll close this portion of the meeting. Next is the upcoming scheduled meetings. Thursday, May 18th, will be our regular public meeting at 8 p.m. here in the Administration Building. Tuesday, May 23rd, we'll have staff recognition at 3:30 in the Evergreen New Gym. Monday, June 5th, student recognition at 7 p.m. in the Evergreen New Gym. Thursday, June 8th, open agenda meeting, 8 p.m. in the Administration Building. And Thursday, June 22nd, regular public meeting, 8 p.m. here in the Administration Building. At this time, I'll entertain any remarks for the good of the order.
I do.
Mrs. Brody.
James, I just wanted to say good luck. It's been a pleasure, and we'll miss you terribly, but on to better things.
Thank you, Mrs. Brody. Is there any other comments? I second Mrs. Brody's
Yes, I think she
comment.
speaks for all of us.
Yeah, we will miss you. You've surely been a big help here at the meetings, as well as what you do in the back with Mr. Jones and the business functions. And we're glad you were here, even though it was a short time. You've influenced us in a great way, so thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, can I please have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Boroff. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Brody. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good night, everyone. Thank you.